Hello and welcome to the third ROKER Report Exiles podcast. I'm Brett Lyons-Davis and today we'll be talking about the Rotherham draw, our thoughts on the takeover news. We'll be previewing Bolton this weekend. We'll be giving you some Sunderland supporters branch news updates and also reading out a couple of your questions from Twitter. And if there's chance, we will be discussing the hot topic of pink slices. A very brief recap, though, first of the Exiles, what the Exiles pod is all about. The ROKER Report lads put a call out in the summer to get some Exiles supporters on board, to give you a little bit of a feel of what it's like supporting the lads from a distance. Now, we have lads in our group from all over the UK and Ireland. We've got some in mainland Europe and even the other side of the world. And that's my first guest tonight and I'd like to introduce you to Bolton Wanderers, who's on the line all the way from Australia. Martin, how are you doing?
I'm well, Brett. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much, Martin. Now, it's 9:35 on a Thursday evening at the moment. What time are you there?
It's currently 6:34 in the morning. I'm in the future. It's Friday. You've got me confused. It's Friday morning.
You've got one day to game day on Saturday.
That's right.
You know, obviously, the great thing about yourself is you're out from the northeast originally, and obviously you've moved out to Australia. But how do you sort of follow the lads all the way over there?
Yeah, well, I've been out here for almost 10 years now, and when I came over, obviously we were in the Premier League. My first game was in '87, so I used to go week in, week out, and had a season ticket all the way along. So when I came out here, you know, watching the Sunderland games was the one thing that, you know, obviously apart from friends and family, watching the Sunderland games is the one thing I was concerned about. But when I got out here, every Premier League game was broadcast live. So yes, you've got to get up at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock, but you could watch every game. And that was pretty much the same until the season before last, when we were in the Championship and the club, in its wisdom, decided not to stream any games. That probably was a good season to miss. So I only managed to watch a few games live then, but since I put the stream back on, I've been recommencing the early alarm clocks.
And for yourself then, because how often do you get back over to the UK to see games then?
I was trying to work out the other day. I think I've been back 7 or 8 times in 10 years, so it's almost every year, and I always try to coincide it with a good run of home games. Had a long weekend in London for the Checker Trade final last season. I did think that was going to be probably my best chance ever of seeing us win at Wembley, because for one, I thought we'd go up automatically, and two, I thought we'd consequently not be in the Checker Trade trophy this season, which we're not, but we're in a similar trophy with a different name. So I thought that was going to be the best chance ever of seeing us win at Wembley. So I came over for a long weekend, and obviously we didn't.
I must admit, coming home from Wembley after the playoffs, so obviously I'm based in Milton Keynes, so Wembley's very close to me. It's 45 minutes or so on the tube. That felt a very long time leaving Wembley. Well, for you, you're flying back, 24 hours to get back home to Australia? That's a long trip to follow in a defeat.
It was a long trip. I think it would have been a longer trip if it had been following the playoff final, because the Checker Trade trophy, while it would be nice to win, it wasn't a massive one. But I think if it had been after the playoff final, certainly it would have been an awfully long trip. But no, it was certainly enough time to ponder on where it went wrong.
No, definitely. So yourself, you've got a son and a daughter over there. Are they growing up Sunderland fans? Have you managed to keep the tradition going?
Yeah, I've got a son, Ted, who's 6, and a daughter who's 2, Ella. Ella's a bit too young to get into it yet, but Ted went to a school disco a couple of weeks ago in his red and white stripes, and it was a sports themed disco. So he proudly wore a Sunderland shirt. He was obviously the only one in attendance who had red and white stripes on. But we are planning a trip over Christmas, and he'll be coming to his first game, hopefully the Boxing Day game, now that it's definitely going to go ahead. So yes, that'll be his Stadium of Light debut.
And that'll be a fantastic game. Good. Hopefully, like last season, where there was a massive push to make it 49,000. If they can do the same again this season, what a first game for him. That'd be absolutely amazing.
Yes, let's hope we can win.
Well, that's always a big question for us, isn't it? That's the problem. As my daughter's first game was 1-1 Portsmouth last year, so at least she saw us take the lead, and she got the crowd going. So it's a Yeah, I think that first game, though, is very important to get the kids nailed on red and white. So
my first game was a 2-0 defeat at home to Oldham, so it didn't set me up too badly.
At least it let you know what you're in store for the next sort of like 20 odd years.
Exactly.
No, Martin, it's great to have you on the line. We're also joined today a little bit closer to home, a bit closer to the northeast. We've got Danny Roberts, who is from Lincoln. Danny, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good man. And Danny, what's your story then? As you say, so Martin has emigrated away from the northeast. Yourself, how have you come about being a Sunderland supporter?
So I was actually born in Germany, and my mum was originally from Sunderland. So unfortunately, she sort of pushed me into the red and white persuasion, and the rest is history. But my entire family all support, apart from my mum and me, all support different teams. So one of my brothers is a Liverpool fan, my other brother's a Tottenham fan, my dad's a Burnley fan. So I got lumbered with Sunderland. But yeah, so I moved to Sunderland when I was about 10, then moved away when I was 18 to go to university. Now I live in Lincoln, where I used to live when my dad was in the RAF. And yeah, just stayed in Lincoln after university and go to as many games as possible now.
Good man. And obviously, me and yourself met down at Peterborough a couple of weeks ago. There's also a few of us kind of met up, didn't they? So it was nice to enjoy a beer with the Exiles gang.
Yeah, it was getting to know a few people. Because John, who is also from Lincoln, it was nice to put a face to him as well. And strange because there's a lot of Sunderland supporters in Lincoln, and they're all just coming out of the woodwork a little bit now. I've seen so many. I gave one of my Wembley tickets away to someone who I'd never met before, and he lived about 0.6 miles away from me in Lincoln. Never met him before, didn't know he existed until I had that ticket. It's just so strange how small this world is.
It is bizarre because, and I actually touched upon it briefly on the first pod that I did, that like when we left Wembley after the playoffs, so we got off at Milton Keynes, and just on that one train alone, there was about 30 Sunderland fans all getting off at Milton Keynes, and I've learned about it more now in doing the pod, and obviously today we put a bit of a shout out for some of the branches to give us basically some news and some meetup points. We're everywhere. Sunderland is a massive, massive club, and yeah, we're not the most successful, but, it really is great. And also on the line today, we've got one pretty familiar voice, actually. He was on the first pods a couple of weeks ago, is Bomber in Gloucester. Bomber, how you doing?
Good evening, Brett. I'm good, mate. Not too bad at all. Good to be back. All lucky listeners get to listen to my dulcet tones once again.
The pleasure is all ours, mate. Pleasure is all ours. Do you know what? I'll jump straight into it with yourself, Bomber, because I know you made an absolute boatload of notes during the game on Tuesday night. And one of the things, obviously, we've got a bit of a WhatsApp group between us, and Bomber did. Well, he let us into the mind of Bomber on Tuesday with his notes. So, Bomber, what was your thoughts? Obviously, we drew 1-1 with Rotherham. Started really well. Obviously, 1-0 up after 30 odd seconds. McGeady missed a penalty, went downhill, but I'll let you take over. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, I think if ever there was a cliche of having a single moment that turned a game, it was that penalty. If ever there was evidence for that, it was that Aidan McGeady penalty. The first 30 minutes, we were sharp, we were quick, we were moving the ball. You had McNulty, O'Nien, McGeady just closing down that back four, closing down the keeper, putting him under pressure, making him stick it out for throw-ins. We were winning the ball back in their half, just putting him under so much pressure. And then all of a sudden that penalty gets missed, and it's like just the balloon just deflates, and it's just a completely different team, a completely different dynamic. And that was the rest of the game, really. For the next 60 minutes, we spent pretty much hanging on, We couldn't string a handful of passes together. We weren't anywhere near as quick in closing them down. We let them control the game a little bit. I did think that we looked a lot better with Luke O'Nien in the middle. That just that energy, even if he's not actually performing on the ball, just the energy that he gives us in closing down defenders, closing down the opposition, making them make mistakes. But yeah, you're quite right. I made a few notes, or some personal musings, shall we say, that are just kind of questions to myself. And first half compared to second half, I've got some of them here. So yeah, Luke O'Nien, hands down the best player of the first half so far. Lads are controlling the game first 30 minutes. Nice one-touch football going on here. Sparky, great pressure from the front. I've got some questions for myself as well. Are Rotherham shit at the back, or are we putting them under too much pressure? McGeady is a beautiful dancer. I think that was his little pirouette that he had on the edge of the box.
I actually wondered that was auto-correct when I saw you wrote that one down.
Yeah, no, that was just appreciating his little ballerina dance that he did at the edge of the box there. And then second half was fewer notes. Goals being come in. Rotherham looked much better in the second half. Someone's getting sent off here. Now we're getting outworked. How many times can McGeady give the ball away in one half of football, and then just finish with shite? So so definitely a game of two halves in my respect, but for my opinion there.
No, it definitely was. Martin, I take it you was up. He'd have been up sort of nowish, I suppose, for it, wasn't it? It'd been you probably like the later kickoffs.
That one's a 4:30 alarm clock. That one.
4:30. You're a glutton for punishment.
Well, I'm used to it now. But no, I agree with a lot of what Bomber said. I thought, the thing that we've got is that you have to sacrifice one thing for another, don't you? So, whereas I agree with Bomber in terms of O'Nien's energy from the front and that pressing, and I think that added something to us. But by playing him there, you lose the spark and the smartness that Maguire has there. So we always have to sacrifice something at the minute with that squad of players that we've got. And it's just figuring out what that best combination is to get the best performance out of it. And he hasn't done that this season yet.
No, I think you're right there. I don't think he knows I don't think he's done his best 11 for the past, since he's been here. So 16 months or so now, because one thing I liked on Tuesday that we had, O'Nien, McGeoch, Dobson in the middle, so lots of pace, lots of, that on paper should work quite well. McGeoch's passing, Dobson and O'Nien's energy. For me, it didn't quite click. And I also think because of that, as you said, you've got to replace one for the other. It does mean McLaughlin's playing at right back. And I'd actually rather see O'Nien at right back and, like yourself, put Maguire in the centre.
Well, I think it just shows, the lack of quality that we brought in over the course of, 14 and 15 months. And if you look through all the signings that we've had, I think really you could only say John McLaughlin and Jordan Willis now are two players who we brought in who are guaranteed starters every week. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, you could argue a case for either coming in or out of the team. We don't have any fullbacks, so consequently O'Nien is the best fullback that we've got, and he's not even a genuine fullback. He wasn't signed as a fullback. And we were overloaded with central midfield players, and he doesn't know the best combination, certainly in that central midfield. But that the three that played on Tuesday, those were the three that played at Burnley and got rave reviews for the performance. So you can understand why he gave them a chance. But it's a problem.
No, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Danny, what was your thoughts on the game?
Quite similar to what has already been noted, really. That first 30 minutes, we looked sharp, we looked bags of energy. The midfield worked. We were playing the ball to each other and we weren't hoofing the ball. It got to the penalty, we missed it, whatever. And then the game we just stopped. We just stopped doing everything what we were doing well. They were a physical side, but they weren't, I wouldn't say they were great. They were there for the taking. And I remember putting in the group chat, we just need half time just to regroup, settle everything down and re-go. But unfortunately, we just didn't re-go when we got into the second half. And it was only until Rotherham scored, we decided to wake up again. And then Wyke had his glorious chance to make it 2-1. and Luke O'Nien in the 90th minute just needed the shoot. He had a clear shot on goal, but
no, I agree. That last minute shot, that was really frustrating. That was one of those moments. Just put your foot through. I mean, he side footed to Maguire, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
yeah. It was just very, very frustrating. And as you say, when you mentioned the chat saying get to half time, it just exactly the same again. That Hasty on the left hand side, he looks a really good player. I don't know if he looked a good player or McLaughlin let him. Obviously, he scored their goal for them. And he had absolutely acres of space. But he was, I was pleased when he came off. But, one thing I sort of made like a thought of on Tuesday is when the game sort of went away from us, we don't have leaders on the pitch anymore. Now, I don't know what any of you guys sort of think the same, because obviously we had McGeady as captain. And to me, obviously there was no Ledbetter on the pitch, but he's not a captain. He's not going to obviously something like Catamole last season. Even when he wasn't captain, he would still jeer people up and he'd get the players going. Do we have that anymore? I know like Dobson was captain at Walsall, but obviously he's new to the team. Willis was a captain at Coventry, but again, is that one thing we're missing? Bomber, what's your sort of thoughts on that? Are we lacking leadership?
Yeah, well, it's quite possible. For me, Willis should have been captain yesterday. He is a captain. He knows how to lead. He's done it for Coventry. It just seems a bit too easy just to say, McGeady's probably the most experienced player we've got. He's played at the highest level at the moment, so yeah, we'll give it to him. McGeady doesn't need to be captain. He knows he's a big smish. He knows he's a big fish in a relatively small pond, and he's happy to play that role. He doesn't need to be captain. You're not going to get you're not going to get that extra 10% out of him, and inherently he is a more selfish player, so he's not going to be the one to shout at the centre midfielders, shout at the centre backs, shout at the centre forwards to get that extra 10-15% out of them, whereas I feel Jordan Willis has been there and done it. Like I say, it just seemed a bit of a token gesture. It's like, Ledbetter's not playing. We've got two relatively new players in the middle of midfield. It should have gone to Willis, in my opinion. I think generally, though, there is a lack of leadership, or certainly there seems to be no one on the pitch who's willing to take the game by the scruff of the neck and willing to actually, ruffle a few feathers amongst the teammates to try and G them up for a game. It's kind of like no one wants to step forward and actually and take that on. Ledbetter does it, but Ledbetter's from the area. He's got that passion. He's almost obliged to by his heritage. I don't see anywhere else in the team at the minute that can produce that. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but I certainly think it is an issue that needs addressing. Obviously, we're not going to get to do that until January at least. But yeah, there is a definitive lack of leaders out on that pitch when things aren't going so well. It's all right when it's going well because everyone's happy. Fans, players, managers, backroom staff are all happy when things are going well. But you could see after 30 minutes in that game on Tuesday, it needed somebody just to give everybody a bit of a kick at the backside and say, come on, pull your fingers out, lads, let's get back to this. And McGeady wasn't the man to do it for me because he needs to focus on himself. He can't focus on the rest of the team.
No, definitely that. Martin, for yourself, obviously we've got Bolton coming up this weekend. Where would you, what sort of changes would you want to be making ahead of that?
Oh, look, I think Ledbetter's got to come straight back into the team. Reading what Jack Ross had said, I think Ledbetter was only left out really because we had two games coming up in the space of 5 or 6 days. And he's got to be in the midfield every week, and you can argue about his quality. But he gives you that leadership. He gives you that structure on the pitch, and he throws himself into things. And he to me, gets the rest of the team going. And he's the only one that we've got who can do it. So he's got to come back in to me for my money. I think Will Griggs got to play. I'll bring Grigg back in on Saturday because if we are going to get anything out of him this season, he's got to start scoring goals. He's, if you look at who we've got on the books, he's the best bet with his track record, not with the evidence that we've seen so far in Sunderland career, but looking at his track record, he's the one player in the team that we've got who can really get us goals to get us up. McNulty's got a decent record, and if you play him behind Greg like we have done a couple of times this season, like we've got to get Greg firing. Jack Ross has got to get Greg firing, otherwise he's going to become the main reason that he loses his job for me.
Well, that's it. But Will Grigg is really, so it's the £4 million question, isn't it? Is how do you get Will Grigg firing again? A lot's been said about it being the player being, is it the player being lazy, not making the runs? Is it the system not sort of working for him? If it's Jack Ross's choice, if it is the system, why are we not sort of doing it? Personally, I think McNulty is a starter on Saturday. He gives you 110%. He runs everything down. Danny, I don't know what your thoughts are then on up front then on Saturday. Where would you see it?
I would start McNulty. He's got 2 and 2 now. You were talking about the automatic starters in the team now, and McLaughlin, the goalkeeper, Willis, Gidi, and I'd probably put McNulty in that now. He's harrying, he's pressing, and just his all-round play. He links well with McGeady, Maguire, and Gooch. There's a nice little cohesion growing between those 4 players, and when McNulty's got a bit of fitness and he's at the start of a match, it all kind of fades in really nicely. When he tires in the game and he gets to the second half, and obviously his fitness isn't where it needs to be at the moment, he's still carrying that knock. You can see we kind of struggle up front. So I'll definitely start with McNulty, but we're probably going to see him come off in the 60th minute, 70th minute against Bolton, unless obviously we're losing or drawing. McNulty, McGee starts, Gooch, and then Maguire in the hole where Luke 09 was.
Yeah, no, I think I'd probably agree with you on that one personally. Bomber, who do you see as the up front now? As White, is he now a bit of a second string? I know he had a little bit of a purple patch where he was sort of almost first choice. Where do you see the front being?
Well, he probably is. It's amazing, really, just a testament to how quickly you can fall out of favour, because everyone was saying at the beginning of the season that Charlie White's our number one striker. He's the man we're going to be putting in our hopes on. He's the man that we signed, and we're finally seeing the benefits of that now. And now all of a sudden, people are calling for Will Grigg to start over him. So yeah, it's a funny one. There is a bit of a conundrum with our strikers. And there was something that I just wanted to address from the game on Tuesday, and it's going to be a bit of an unpopular opinion, because I know Jack Ross in particular got a lot of stick for swapping McNulty for Wyke, saying that he didn't know what he was doing, this, that, and the other, and it was a terrible change. I actually think that was a good change. We were under the cosh a little bit. We were bypassing the midfield. So Jack Ross had made that change because McNulty was ineffective. He was stretching the game when we were playing through the midfield. All we were doing for that second half is lumping the ball up, and it was just coming straight back and straight back. So actually the tactical change to put Wyke on, I think, was a good one. And I might get some pelters for that. But he saw that actually nothing was sticking up top, and then made that change with the view of Wyke being able to hold the ball up and actually give our defence a bit of a break. That said, I don't think you can not start with McNulty on Saturday. With strikers, it's all about form. He's got 2 and 2. He's looked dangerous. He's looked threatening. Even if he does only last 60 minutes and he comes off for either a Wyke or a Grigg, he's the man who's in form at the minute. He's the man who's scoring goals. Jack Ross is in a lose-lose situation with this Bolton game on Saturday. If we lose, with all intents and purposes, the fan base will probably lose faith in him. If we win, and we win 1 or 2-0, everyone else is beating Bolton 4 or 5, so it's not going to be good enough either. So he needs the players who are in form. He needs the players who are going to be more guaranteed to score him the goals. At the moment, for me, that's McNulty. I'd like to see 09 stay up there as well. I would like to see probably, well, you know my feelings on Gooch, so I would probably like to see Maguire, O'Nien, McGeady, and McNulty as the front four.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest question on, obviously, because Bolton on Saturday, they are minus 10 points. They've got no wins. You know, in typical Sunderland, that's a guaranteed Sunderland defeat. That's how it normally works. And the biggest question is who's going to score the winner? Is it Bridcut, Buckley, or Daryl Murphy? But in all fairness, that we need to be going to Bolton almost like in the same mindset as the AFC Wimbledon game, when we played by one small blip, we battered them. Really, you know, we played really, really well. And as I say, I think me and Danny have probably got the same mindset of who should be the front line. I think defensively, you know, myself, I actually would rather have O'Nien as a forward right back, just to I don't rate McLaughlin. I gave him a bit of a benefit of doubt when he was played at left back. I don't think he brings anything to the team. You know, are we happy though? Sort of like defensively, McLaughlin. I mean, some people say McLaughlin in goal might need dropping, but I don't agree with that in the slightest. Martin, defensively, are we happy though at the back?
I think Willis and Ozturk are the two first choice centre halves now, and I think ultimately O'Nien and Hume at present are our two best fullbacks. Mm-hmm. We need to see what this Belgian lad from Leeds is like, but apparently he's not going to be in contention for Saturday, so Hume's going to be left back, and O'Nien needs to play right back because McLaughlin's just not doing the job. You know, he was caught horrendously out of position for Rotherham's goal on Tuesday night, and he's just looked very, very poor since he signed.
No, I agree with you, Danny. Are you on the same page as us, or do you see something else in him?
I'm sort of on the same page. I've completely lost my train of thought.
Would you play O'Nien at right back?
There you go. Right. So, yes and no. So we need that continuity at the back. That's the biggest thing what we're missing at the moment. It's 10 games in now, and we haven't kept one clean sheet, and it's chop and change, chop and change, chop and change. We've either had McLaughlin left back, McLaughlin right back, Hume left back. Flanagan's played the centre back now at the start of the season. So we're going on about clean sheets and that desire to have them, and it is vitally important that we start doing that. But
okay,
we're not going to get that unless we start playing the same four at the back. So even so, we play McLaughlin, get him a bit of confidence, and because it's Bolton. So hopefully we're not going to be under that much pressure. And if we keep a clean sheet between McLaughlin, Hume, Ozturk and Willis, then that's something to build on for all four of them, and we can go on to the next game, and hopefully on the next game and the next game. I like O'Nien. He probably is our best right back somehow. But if it means we've got that extra option to either start O'Nien in behind the striker in midfield or on the bench as an option to come on in the last 60 minutes, when we just need that a little burst of energy on the pitch to help us out, then it'll be better for everything in the 11 for Sunderland.
At risk of another unpopular opinion,
go on.
Brett. Obviously, I'd put O'Nien in that front four and not really thinking about the back four. Wasn't Flanagan signed as a fullback, in particular a right back initially? I know he's got his detractors and he's pretty much the most hated defender that Sunderland have got right now, but Conor McLaughlin is very quickly taking that mantle. If we need a right back and we want O'Nien further forward, maybe try playing Flanagan in the position which we signed him for.
So it's always an option, isn't it? And as Danny said, you don't want to say it does. Any game's not easy for us. We always find some way to make hard out of an easy situation. But yeah, it's always an option to bring him in. If you want to put O'Nien further up, I think ideally I'd say I like him right back. I think he's got the legs to almost a bit like, you can't compare the two, but how Ashley Cole used to be a left back and overlapping and getting forward. I like that in fullbacks. I like them overlapping, getting forward, getting crosses in, helping out the wingers. And I think he does that really well. So I don't think Flanagan would do that. But I say it's...
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, maybe I'm just getting a bit too swept up in that first 30 minutes of 09 in the midfield. But I think he was probably the difference for me in terms of how quick we were playing and how much pressure we were putting them under. So maybe I'm just getting swept up in that.
We could do two of him.
Can I make a point on that? The energy of 09 in the middle. It was Dobson and 09.
Yes.
It really added something to the team. Dobson was here, there, and everywhere, and so was 09. Dobson was in a ball in the air. It was just nice to have someone in midfield who had the drive to hit himself back to the defend and then all the way up to help the attack. 09 and Dobson were both doing that for the first 30 minutes, and it was really refreshing to see that this season, because I can't remember a time in League One Sunderland have done that or had a midfield who have done that.
I think that's what makes it even more frustrating on Tuesday, though, where we've done that for the first half hour, and similar as I say, the three of them played at Burnley with McGeoch as well, played together at Burnley. We got a good result, and then we just ended up just like avoiding all of them and booting it above all their heads. So I think that's what was the most frustrating thing from Tuesday's game, where we had a really good formula going on, and then we just completely ignored it.
The hoofing the ball, it comes down to not having the leader on the pitch, what we've spoken about already. We just didn't calm down.
No.
We were under the cosh a little bit, and the nearest thing we could do was hoof, trying to get the ball to McGeady on the left or Gooch on the right, just to give us a bit of space. When White came on, it was their primary target, just to get it forward. And we just needed to get the ball on the floor, McGeoch on the ball, Dobson on the ball, and 09 on the ball, just to calm it down. We just didn't have that. It got away from us, and the inevitable happened, and we conceded. So it's trying to find a way to play under pressure, and we just seemingly can't do it.
It's strange, isn't it? Because that energy that you spoke of with 09 and Dobson, I completely agree, and it was great to see that. But you'd think that's actually perfect for a team facing a bit of pressure, because we can get out, we can get at people really, really quickly. And I think if we've got somebody like Ledbetter holding the midfield in 09 and Dobson just herring off everywhere, that could actually work pretty well. But the concerning thing for me was how quickly we went into our shell after we missed that penalty on Tuesday, and that is down to leadership. But the whole conversation about these fullbacks, whether we play Hume or we play Flanagan or whatever, it just shows how ridiculous it was that we spent all pre-season training and playing a system with wing-backs, because we just don't have the players in those positions.
No, you're 100% right there. The only I know, obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of Ross in, Ross out sort of debate. I think, to his credit, though, we tried something and then quickly saw it wasn't working, and then went away from it and scrapped it. But it was almost a little bit too little too late that then we started the season, we were literally scrambling around at last minute to try and get a cover for a left back. So it is a difficult one, I must say. But sort of moving away now from sort of Tuesday's game and Saturday's game, obviously there was big news this week. Now I need to be very careful how I say this, because I don't want anyone to think that I've announced it when I haven't. The takeover that will hopefully be happening shortly appeared to take another step, with screenshots of a company's house flying around Twitter and Facebook. I think it's a bit of a daft question, but how excited are we right now about the possibility of Sunderland's future? Martin, can you believe that we're on the verge? And I'll say it's not a done deal by any stretch of imagination yet, that the Dell boys, as I keep hearing them being called, that they could be taking over.
Oh, look, it all sounds great, doesn't it? And it all sounds brilliant on paper. They seem to have the money, we seem to have the backing. And they're obviously not doing it just for a bit of fun. They're going to do it to get the club back into the Premier League. So, it's usually exciting. It gives us it's all a lift, because I think while I certainly think Stuart Donald and Charlie and the other guys there have done a great job since they took over. I think they've done an outstanding job. Of course, they made a few little mistakes along the way, but overall, they've done a really good thing for us. But they don't have the clout to get us competing in the top of the championship, to my mind. So to get these guys in, they'll give everybody a lift. The biggest thing though is we've got to get out of this league, and we've got to get out of this league this season. So how much that money impacts what we do this season is debatable, because from a financial fair play perspective, I don't think they can chuck tons of money in for transfer fees for this season.
No.
So it's a balance between medium to long term. It's brilliant. Short term, is it going to affect us that much? I don't really know.
No, and I think you're right there. And because of the financial fair play, it's not like in January, all of a sudden Jack Ross, or if it's him or if he's not, whoever, they're not going to have a massive war chest to spend 20 million in League One. That's just crazy. I think, as you say, we've just got still the players we've got. We live within our means, get out of the league, and long term, I think the future is very rosy. But we're Sunderland. In my eyes, it's always something. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. But let's fingers crossed it does all go through.
We have had a rich American before.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a billionaire owner. Look what happened there. But it could be worse. We could have Mike Ashley in control. So it could be worse. I'm just going to go very quickly to some questions that we had from Twitter today. So obviously we put out a bit of a shout to everyone to ask some questions and see what to ask you guys basically. And the first one is from Owen Young. And I'll start with you, Danny, on this one. It's basically regarding the leaked comments about Stuart Donald. Why do some fans feel like this is appropriate behaviour? Because to me, it's disrespectful. So that's obviously about the 13-second, 10-second recording where allegedly Stuart Donald's talking to somebody, mentioned something about Will Grigg, about the system or the player, and then he makes a comment. Well, along the lines of, don't quote me on it, Roy Keane would jump at the opportunity or something like that. Danny, what do you feel when you hear sort of things like this bandied about on Twitter?
It's definitely stupid from a Sunderland fan perspective. You're putting the chairman, you're dropping the chairman in it. It's unfair for a couple of fans to have a conversation with the owner and secretly record it. It's not right. He's out. He's having a couple of drinks, obviously, and just being honest. And you don't need to film that. And the fact that it's 13 seconds, it could be horribly taken out of context. He's laughing about it. He could be joking about it. You don't know what he's saying in the next 2 seconds. It's edited and put out in a way which is harmful. You never know what could have happened from that. Luckily, it's 4 or 5 weeks old by the sounds of it, so it's not going to affect anything major. It looks like it's already dealt with and all the parties know about it. But if that only came out today and it was new and it's fresh, who knows what could have happened with that? It could have had an effect on the takeover. Could have done anything. Yeah, we could be without a manager.
I agree, mate. There's nothing to gain from it. And as you say, beforehand, it's a 10-second clip. He could have been out, and the guys who he's with, he's like get Roy Keane in, and then he said no, he's not coming over with Jack Ross. Conversation's gone on. Oh, he knows Roy Keane will jump at it. You don't know how that conversation's gone about. It's just, it annoys me. And also, it's just the guy, Stuart Donald and Charlie Mifflin, they go out, they chat to the fans, at the pubs. I've met both of them before games on different times. I met Charlie at Burton, and I met Stuart Donald. I think it was at Port Vale in the Cup. Quick chat. They're happy to speak to anybody. You don't want the chairman to feel like he can't talk to the fans. Bomber, I think I'm certain you agree with us that it's It's not right, surely.
No, it's not right. I mean, if I don't know the intricacies of who's posted it or who's recorded it. If it's been recorded by a Sunderland fan, then they're just an idiot. I think it's been very cleverly edited. I don't know Stuart Donald and I don't know Charlie Methven, but Stuart Donald has always come across as a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, like we'll crack a joke here or there, and a bit of a lad. So it smacks of something that he said tongue-in-cheek because he knows it'll get a laugh, but someone's cleverly edited it to make it look like it's something that's more serious and there's more in it than what it actually is. In my opinion, what it is, it's a handful of blokes having a couple of drinks. Someone's obviously set that comment up, recorded his response, and then cleverly edited it to make it newsworthy. For me, it's not newsworthy. And like I said, if it's a Sunderland fan who's recorded that and has leaked it in inverted commas, then they're not worth the time. They're just an idiot in my eyes.
No, that's exactly it. And another question we had online today, which I want to save for Martin to answer first. I think he'll definitely have probably the best answer out of all of us. So this is from Arbroath Mackham, and he asks, does anyone go to local games just because an ex-Sunderland player might feature? So Martin, I'll leave it open to you to answer this one.
Yes, well, in Australia, we've got this very high-quality league called the A-League, and I go to games now and again to get a bit of a football fix. I was living in Sydney for a while, so I used to go along to see Sydney FC play, and I saw a few ex-Sunderland players there. I made a special trip to see Liam Miller, who was obviously, unfortunately, now departed us, but Liam Miller played for Perth Glory and Brisbane Roar, I think, and I saw him play a few times. I moved to an unfortunately named place called Newcastle and lived in Newcastle for 4 years. And I made the ground, the team's actually called the Newcastle United Jets, which prevented me from ever supporting them in any way, shape or form. But I used to go down to the ground there, and every now and again I saw Roy O'Donovan strut his stuff. I saw Roy O'Donovan get sent off for a flying kick at the keeper's head in the A-League Grand Final last year, I think it was, down there, which was probably the highlight of Roy O'Donovan's career. But now I've see a few ex-Sunderland players there. There was a lad called, I think is he at Oxford now, Alex Goran. He was at Wellington Phoenix. So Wellington Phoenix are a New Zealand club, obviously, but they play in the Australian A-League. So I made a special trip to see him play once as well. So now there's a few people dodging around.
Oh, it's good. So obviously, Michael Bridges was out there for us for a while as well, wasn't he?
Mickey Bridges was, and it's funny because around Newcastle there's a lot of places with northeast names. Newcastle as a city in Australia was formed by a lot of people coming over from the northeast, big coal mining area. So in around Newcastle we've got a place called Jesmond, there's a place called Gateshead. I don't live in Newcastle anymore, but there's a place called Lambton, which is where I used to live. I actually used to live on Durham Road in Lambton. And Mickey Bridges used to live, I think he still does live in Newcastle, but he used to play, by the time I got to Newcastle, he'd retired from pro football, but he played for the local park team called the Lambton Jaffers. So you paid a couple of dollars to get in, and had the pleasure of watching Mickey Bridges play park football.
Oh, good work. It was not quite as good as Mickey Bridges, but I was down in Newquay on like a bit of a lad's holiday when I was like 16, 17, and they had a pre-season friendly, and it was Newquay v Watford. In goal for Watford was Alec Chamberlain. It was a little blast in the past for us. That was an interesting one. But no, I will leave sort of like now though for the questions from Twitter. So thank you guys for those ones. Some Exile branch news, and I am going to preempt this and say if I get any place names slightly wrong, please don't like message us because it's not my fault. So we've got the Thames Valley Mackhams, who are on Twitter at TV Mackhams. They're having their first outing for the Shrewsbury game. So if you're in the area, and get in touch with them on Twitter, because they're trying to arrange sort of like meeting points, lifts and pickups of people. So that's the Thames Valley Mackhams at TV Mackhams. The Peterborough Supporters Branch, they can be found on SAFC, and it's P Borough Branch, so PBORO Branch. Their branch meetings are held at the Three Horseshoes in Warrington, I believe it is, on the first Monday of every month to chat all things SAFC. So that's the Peterborough Supporters Branch. The Scottish Branch, who are on Twitter at Scottish SAFC, a meeting on Sunday the 13th of October in Glasgow at the wonderfully named Waxy O'Connor's at 2 p.m. So that's Sunday 30th of October in Glasgow, and that's a Scottish branch at Scottish SAFC. We've got the newly formed Essex branch, who are on Twitter at Essex SAFC, and they're going to have their very first meeting at the Ale House in Chelmsford. That is Saturday the 28th of September at 6 p.m. So that's the newly formed Essex branch. And the last one we've had is from the Sunderland, it's the NASA Association group. So it's the Sunderland North American Supporters Association. So they are at SAFC_NASA, NASA. For the Bolton game, they are meeting up in Scallywags Bar in Toronto. And for the MK Dons, which is obviously my local team around here in Milton Keynes, they are meeting in Toronto and Philadelphia. But if you go to their Facebook page, or there's a link on the Twitter page, the at SAFC_NASA, they've got all the information on there. Unfortunately, we are pretty much run out of time for us.
Brett, there is one more. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. There's one. Yeah, there's one who got in contact, and I messaged and said that I'd give him a shout out. So, it's the Norfolk Sunderland branch. So Norfolk Sunderland AFC supporters, which on Twitter is at Norfolk SAFC, are also having their first branch meetup on Monday the 23rd. So that's this Monday coming, and it's going to be in the Complete Angler in Norwich from 8 o'clock.
Oh, I've been in the Complete Angler, actually.
Have you now?
Yeah, we done that last time we played Norwich. I think, if I remember rightly, that's on the river there.
Yeah, there's a picture on Twitter, and it looks like it looks quite a nice place, to be fair.
It was a nice pub, actually, a nice pub on a sunny day. That's us then. I was going to have a massive conversation involving pink slices and seeing what you guys thought, sir, but we'll have to leave it for another time, unfortunately. Martin, Danny, Bomber, thank you very much for your time. You have been listening to the ROKER Report Exiles podcast, and we hope to see you all soon. Take care.
Cheers, Brett. Away the lads.